Welcome everyone to a new video on this microprocessor 885 lecture series, and in today's video we will learn about 8259 PIC. So what is PIC? PIC is a programmable interrupt controller. Basically it's a chip that is used to increase number of interrupts in MIPI 885. This is a very interesting and intense topic to cover in technical branches. I think I will make this video quite understandable for you. So let's start. Before you watch this video, please watch that interrupt structure video first to have a clear understanding of this video, okay? So suppose this is your 885 MIPI. These are your interrupt pins. Trap, RST 7.5, 6.5 and 5.5 INTR. These are vectored interrupt and these are the only non-vectored is INTR. What does that mean? It doesn't have any particular address and they all have these certain addresses. Now just assume that in these pins I have already connected some devices, okay? Suppose printer, projector, speaker, monitor, whatever device you want to connect. Now in this I have connected a mouse in this interrupt. What happens? In this case MIPI knows to which address I have to go to execute my ISR subroutine. But in this case, when some device is connected to INTR pin, MIPI doesn't know the certain address. Okay. Now suppose I need to connect some other devices also to my machine. Maybe you need an external USB port to connect. In this cases, this address is already blocked with a device. So in these pins, I can't connect any more devices because they are already booked. So what I can do, maybe suppose in some address, this is my mouse, okay, 0020. This USB port can be connected to some other address, 1000. Just assume, okay, sorry, this is 10,000. Now what can happen? We can make these interrupts, you can combine these interrupts, okay, and then send the signal. So INTR can understand that, okay, there are two signals that I'm getting from two different addresses these are the two interrupts that needs to be serviced. But INTR cannot understand that from which address these signals are coming. Okay. So for that, in between I need someone else who will tell me that, okay, these are the addresses from where you are receiving some signals. MIPI, see these signals, go and service them. For that, in between we need a chip, which is a 8259 PIC. Okay. Now what is the beauty in this case? It is a programmable chip. Means a programmer can, like, you can put your own instruction, or you can tell that how this chip should behave. Okay. So what happens in this 8259 PIC? In 8259 PIC, there are 8 another ports from IR0 to IR7. Suppose this is your MIPI and this is your 8259 PIC. There are 8 ports. You connect a device to a certain port. So there will be a certain address. Now 8259 will produce a signal that I have something on this port. Okay, this will produce a signal from INTR pin I will tell them, I will discuss it later on this architecture video. I am receiving a signal, I have a device on a port, on a pin. So first 8259 will produce this INT signal. Now mu p will, while receiving this signal, now mu p will finish what it is doing. Why? Because INTR is the least priority interrupt. So mu p is not in a hurry to service that. It will first finish what it is doing right now. So when mu p is finished, it has already finished its task. Now mu p is free. So mu p will ask that 8259, say, okay, what is the address from where I need to go and execute it. So for that, mu p asks the address. It will produce INTA bar signal, interrupt acknowledgement, right? So why INTA bar is used? For asking the address from 8259 PIC. Now mu p will produce this INTA signal. INT is an active low signal, right? This is. Now, in these ports, there are addresses. You know that when mu p gets it need to execute a subroutine, we use call address. Now call and that address, it's a 3-byte instruction. So mu p needs these 3-byte instruction. What happens? First INTA signal, when mu p first produce that INTA signal, means call an address. This is opcode. So for first INTA signal, it will ask for the opcode for call. Okay. Next, I need my lower bit address. Again go low. And on third INTA signal, I've already draw this 1, 2, and on third it will ask for the higher bit address. So what happens? 8259 got a device, it will produce INT signal. When mu p receive this signal, it will now ask for the address. So for that, I need to execute, for that when ISR will get serviced, it needs that call and that address also. So for that, mu p will produce INTA bar signal. How many INTA bar is needed? 3. Why 3 INTA signal is needed? First for call, second for lower bit, and third for higher bit address. Okay. So now it will receive the address, go execute, come back, and then do whatever you are doing. Okay. So this is how 8259 works. Now, in these 8 pins, 8 interrupts can occur. But how these 8 pins will get serviced? For that, we have some properties on these interrupts. What are they? And based on that, they will get serviced one by one. First, priority. You already know about priority, right? I've already discussed in this interrupt structure video. There are 8 ports. By default, Intel always supports that the pin number 0 is always on highest priority. It is by default. Now, as a programmer, you can change the priority order also. Programmable chip, right? You can write code that, okay, in my 8259 chip, I don't want 0 to be the highest priority, I want something else. Okay, there are some rotating priority and all. I will discuss them in some later videos. So by default, 0 is on highest priority and 7 is the lowest, but a programmer can change it. So the first point is priority. Second is triggering. They can be either edge triggered or level triggered, whatever they want to be. Second is masking. You know, right, using sim instruction or DI instruction, we can mask our interrupts, but there are only few which can be masked, like RST 7.5, 6.5 and 5.5. They can be masked using sim instruction, and using DI we can also do the INTR, but trap can't be masked. But in 8259 PIC, a programmer can do masking by herself or himself. Okay, so masking can be done by the programmer. And the fourth and the most important point is vector address. Let me discuss this. There are ports in 8259 PIC. But from a programmer point of view, you know that these are the addresses on which my devices will get connected. So I need those addresses, the MUP needs those addresses to execute that ISR subroutine. Okay, so address is important here. You know what is the flexibility of using 8259 PIC? A programmer can initialize the addresses also. Those port addresses, a programmer can initialize that, set IR0 at 4000. Programmer has the flexibility of doing so. Now, you may think that a programmer will set all these addresses one by himself or herself, but that is basically time wasting. So what he or she can do, just set IR0 at a particular location and then set some interval. Means maybe you can set 4, 8, 12 C in hexadecimal, okay? So suppose I have set the interval of 4, means IR0 is on 4000, IR1 be on 4004, then IR1 is on 4004, IR2 will be on 4008. It will continue automatically until IR7. So programmer can also put the addresses on these ports. So vector addresses, the flexibility of using vector addresses, 8259 produce it to you. I hope you understand by now. Another flexibility of using 8259 is cascading. There will be another separate video for cascading in 8259, but I will just give you a brief introduction to it. What happens, suppose in MUP, in INTR, you connect a 8259 PIC. Now 8259 PIC has 8 several ports, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In these 8 ports, you can connect one another 8259 PIC. Connect another PIC, another PIC, another PIC. By this, you can connect 8 external 8259 PIC. When you connect 8259 another PIC, this will give you total 64 pins. Means total 64 external devices you can connect to your main machine. Now this is cascading. In that case, the first 8259 PIC that is connected directly to the MUP is called the master, and this one is the slave. Okay, so 1 level and 2 level. The third level we didn't in 885, the third level isn't recognized as a good choice, because when we do that, so see, for this chip it is a slave, but when another chip is connected to this, it will become slave, it will become master. So this PIC gets confused that am I a slave or a master. This is why cascading is acknowledged only to second level. So cascading is basically like linking one to another chip for more devices, but 64 devices is more than sufficient to connect to your machine. I hope 8259 the chips and the chip and the properties are clear by now. Next we will see the architecture. of 8259 PIC. Okay, this is the architecture. First, let me start from this. This is in the motherboard. Here is your MUPI, here is your 8259 PIC. This is a data bus that is connected with, that connects both of them. Now a data bus is a bidirectional. Now you may ask me that why this is bidirectional, because 8259 is producing those addresses for opcode, the opcode of call instruction, the higher bit, the lower bit. Then why it is bidirectional? Because I've already told you that 8259 is a programmable chip. So if the programmer wants to program this, it will send some signals that will come from the MUPI, not to the MUPI. This is why if a programmer sends some instruction, if a programmer sends some commands, for that this it will come like this, and when the PIC is providing some information, then it will go in this direction. This is why the data bus of 8-bit data bus is bidirectional. Second is read bar. Obviously, if MUPI wants to read something, then it will produce read bar. If it want to write something, it will provide write bar. These 5 chips, these 5 pins, just see them but ignore for now. This is used for cascading. We will discuss it on another video. So these are only the pins from this side you need to know. Now come to this side. See, there are 8 ports, IR0 to IR7. This is interrupt request register. This is interrupt mask register. This is in service register. If interrupt is in service, this is called INSR. This is priority resolver. This is the internal bus, the control signal, INT and INTA bar. Now what will happen? First, let me discuss it in a general case. This is a 8-bit register, this INT request register, obviously because there are 8 pins. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. There are 8 pins. Suppose you connected one device to IR3, 0 1 2 3. Some devices being connected. Now this bit will become 1, obviously. Then it will come to this register, which is interrupt masking register. Why this is needed? Suppose my programmer can disable or enable some interrupt. So you will check this one first. This is also an 8-bit register for 8 several pins. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 and 8. Now you have produced signal number 3, 1 0 1 2 3. It will check whether it is 0 or 1, means whether it is masked or unmasked. Suppose it is not unmasked, okay, so 0. If it is not unmasked, then it will go to in service register. What is the task of this register? This pin confirmation, what should I use? Confirmation, or like, you know, the structure of this pin, the syntax right now. 2 3 4 5 6 7 and 8. If any of the pins were if they were activated on some time, or basically if any interrupt is being serviced right now, that is shown by this register. Now in this case, not anyone is in service right now, so my 3 can come and get executed. So I will come and check. So 0 1 2 3. Suppose this is 0 right now, so I say okay, all of them are on 0. By default all of them are on 0, so anyone is serviced right now. After these 3 tests are being passed, now priority resolver, this register, will produce a signal through INT, and this INT goes directly to MUPI's INTR pin. It will come and give the signal that I have someone at my door and tell your MUPI to service me. So first, what MUPI will, after receiving the signal, what MUPI will do? MUPI will first finish its task, the current task that it is doing. First, finish current instruction. Come on, it is not trap instruction. Sorry, it is not trap interrupt that it will just execute immediately. It is the lowest one. So first, finish the current instruction. MUPI will finish it. Second, now when we receive that signal, you remember that there are 3 INTA bar signal that will be produced by MUPI for getting that address. When MUPI produce the first INTA bar signal, means now the MUPI confirms that I am interested in receiving your interrupt. Okay, so when MUPI will send the first INTA signal, that is for opcode of call. Okay, next will be for lower bit of address, third will be for higher bit of address. Okay, so using 3 INTA signals, MUPI will receive these properties, these 3 addresses. I mean these 3 things: the opcode for call, LB and HB, and then it will be serviced. Okay, now let's have some complex scenarios. Means, just assume that in some case INTA 1 and 2 both get signal 1 at simultaneously. I've connected 2 separate devices on separate ports at a time. What will happen now? Obviously, you will say that my IR1 is on highest priority. So it will, first they all will be 1. But this will be serviced first because of priority, and this will be on pending state. Okay, but what is the task of this register? Okay, let me do this. This will become 1 and 1. So first the signal will come and check whether 1 is masked or unmasked. If it is masked, then there is no question of execution. It will be discarded immediately because the programmer doesn't want to receive any interrupt right now. So discard it. But if it is not discarded, then go and check whether any interrupts is in service or not. Now, if in this case I have taken example of 1, right? Suppose my number 3 interrupt was being is in service right now. What will happen? 3 is lower prioritized than 1. So what will happen? Suppose 3 is being executed right now. Sorry. 3 is in service right now. Whenever it receives signal from 2, it will leave on that time and go and service ISR 2 right now. Then again come back to where it was and produce the rest of the instruction and then go back. Depending on this INSR, we can you can tell that in which interrupt is being serviced right now and all. If so right now 3 was in execution, but as the signal from 1 is coming, so you should stop right now. Means now though 3 was on 1 condition, but I told you that no, I need to get executed 0 first, so it will become 0 and my 0 pin will become 1 right now. Go to INTA, produce INTA bar, gets executed. Now you have to make this 0, right? Only then whenever it will become 0 means 0 is being executed and now you can produce 3. sorry, actually I was using 1, sorry, that now 3 my first ISR1 is IR1 is being executed. Now you can produce 3 again. For that you need to make 1 to 0, right? This is why what happens when the interrupt is being executed by MUPI, this ISR routine, in that program, before return instruction there is another command that is called EOI, which is end of interrupt. After receiving this command, only then this bit will become 1 to 0. Means in service register will look for this command. When it sees EOI, means okay, now the IR1 is being executed, I can make this 0 and execute 3. Okay. Now suppose, did you remember what I told you? This was also at that point. This occurs also, but it was on pending state. As this was being serviced, so it was being 1, and then when it is over, now it is 0. But this bit remains 1 because it was on pending state. So now 2 will come, check whether it's masked or not, go to INSR, then see, okay, 3 is being executed, but 3 is on least priority. So it will again says 3, wait, I need to execute first. So again 3 will get stopped, means 3 will become, like, it will on be hold state right now, it has to become 0. Now on 2, here respectively on that 2 pin, it will become 1 right now. Go execute, do this, give this EOI command, this will become 0. When 3 sees that okay, now it is 0, now I can get executed again, then 3 will get executed and your ISR is being serviced. So why did I discuss this? For some complex scenarios, like if 2 or 3 more interrupts occurs, what will happen? If more than 1 interrupts occur, first it will be discussed based on priority. Based on priority, if this test is being passed, then it will go to mask situation. If this is also being passed, then go to in service register. If in some case your 0 and 1 both these two IR0 and IR1, they produce you signal 1. Because of highest priority, it will come first. So in that scenario, both come, but as it is being on highest priority, it will get service. So now you shut up. First is being passed, then go to interrupt mask register. Maybe for some reason my programmer has masked IR0, then though the signal came, it is being discarded, means 0 will not get performed. And obviously for the who is on the pending state right now, IR1 will pass this scenario, then it will come, check if it is masked or not masked. Okay, I'm not masked, go to INSR. If in INSR any highest priority than IR1, if any of them is in serviced, then IR has to wait. Otherwise, if any lower priority interrupt is being serviced, then it will stop immediately. First it will serve the highest priority interrupt and then go back to the lower one again. But okay, so the more priority is between when IR1 comes and it has to check whether someone more important than him is being serviced or not, the only more important pin is IR0, but IR0 is being masked by the programmer, so now IR1 will be only in execution. So IR1 will send that signal from INT, then get the INTA acknowledge bar and all. I've already repeated this step so many times. Then when it will get serviced, this bit will become 1 to 0, and then again some other interrupt will get executed. Okay, now one point you should remember here is no interrupt interrupts itself. What does that mean? Suppose IR4 was in execution, okay, and suddenly you put another device also. When it is being executed, you put another device, it will immediately discard it, because already I am executing the ISR for IR4. So no interrupt can interrupt itself. This is a point to remember. Otherwise, it's a very easy lecture. What happens? In motherboard, this is your MUPI, this is your 859 PIC. There are 8 ports. If you plug any device there, it will produce a signal from INT. It will go to MUPI, received. When MUPI will finish the current task, then it will produce the INTA bar signal. For the first time, it shows that okay, now I'm free, I can confirm that I can service you. So for that first INTA bar signal, it will get the opcode for call instruction. For second, it will get the lower bit address. For third, it will get the higher bit address. And then after receiving the address, it will go and service the ISR routine, go back and do the other task. This is why we use 8259 PIC. It's a programmable interrupt controller. This is used for increasing number of interrupts. So this was for today's video. I hope you understand the topic. So if you have any problem, please ask me in the comment section or you can mail me. Thanks for watching.